going to send a message to you all. What's up, Battletune? Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Man, we were going so strong on that live, and then YouTube decided to kick. Hello, Edwin. How are you? What's up, guys? Everyone's filtering in now. I'm so I don't know what happened. My connection was fine, my Wi-Fi was fine, but YouTube Studio crashed. So everything just crashed, and I like YouTube Studio wasn't like letting me go live. So I think there's a conspiracy now, like, there's beef between me and YouTube Studio. Edwin's like, "For a 3rd time." Yes, this is yeah, it's the 3rd stream, 3rd or 4th I've tried to push through. Oh, we had such good momentum going. I hope everybody can come back here and, like, we could, continue our chat and YouTube won't boot me. But, yeah, basically, YouTube just decided, like, they were not having it and just stopped the stream. I don't know what happened. All right, guys. We'll pick up where we left off. People will filter, and I hope we didn't permanently lose some people who just thought the stream was over. Bummer. But okay, let's see what you guys are saying. Someone said Rome Dunze is like a Larry Fitzgerald Jr. I could see that comp. Willie said the LA Rams should have a 2 back in the backfield. Stafford, I agree. That's why I could see them taking somebody like Braylon Allen or Audric Estime, like a bigger back to complement Kyron. I could see them taking in like the end of the 3rd round, maybe the 5th round again. This running back class is a little weird. So I feel like there's like a couple backs that'll go 2nd to 3rd round and then like nobody until later on. Like there's a really big drop. Alex said, "Is it even an Alexis Kraft live stream without technical difficulties? Streams were just too fire." I know, right? Like it's always something. Like I know my mic right now isn't working, my Shure mic. And then when I was trying to fix it, I basically the way that you guys might notice it's missing, the way that I have my Shure mic set up is it's clamped on like an end table so I could have it like fit in this setup, and I snapped it off because I was trying to fix it because the quality hasn't been good. Then I was trying to fix it, then it fell off, and I haven't been able to get it back up. So I'm not using my Shure mic. So I know my audio hasn't been great, and I apologize for that. It's just been a mess. Zach pointed out my Stanley Cup. Things are made of steel, like the YouTube live stream should be. What's up, Dill? Mike pointed out that Jeff Fisher drafted Todd Gurley. What could have been, right? Man, we've had some good Rams running backs. Todd's just his knees just were his enemy. Sean McVay likes to draft 150-pound boys. I think that if they're going to draft a running back, they're not going to take another Kyron because you already have theoretically another Kyron style in Ronnie Rivers, right? So I don't know what the point would be for the Rams to draft a running back in the same vein as Kyron Williams. I think they would go after somebody like a Braylon Allen or an Audric Estime, somebody who's like just a huge bowling ball, like a 3rd down back. Yes, Alex, those were streams back in the day. Those were, yeah, my God, 2 years ago now. Someone said Trey Benson, running back. What's up, Hakeem? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just telling everybody, YouTube basically hates me, and they booted me for no reason from YouTube Studio and then wouldn't let me go live. So if I get booted again, that'll probably be a sign that tonight's not the night. But this should work. Thank you, everybody, for coming back who was in the first stream. Because we were going really strong. And of course, right at the peak, it just got too hot, and YouTube conspiracized against me. What's up, FA1CO? Thank you. I'm glad you're back. Yeah, guys, I don't know. The Rams have some interesting choices that they can make this draft because I think the Rams are in a position where they're not that they're going to need draft picks to contribute right away, but kind of. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see what they do, particularly in the first 3 rounds, because they have some holes that they need to fill, and I think that if they can draft the right guys who can contribute right away, I mean, we already know this team is looking for a deep playoff run, that's only gonna help. I'm a Ronnie Rivers fan, McCann. I am. I just think the Rams need a different style of running back to add to their arsenal. I think Ronnie is very much in the same vein as Kyron, in the way that they play, so I would like to see them take a running back who is the opposite style. Edwin said, "Do you have any family members that are Bears fans? And if so, how do they feel about getting Williams? I would have loved to get him." I do. My dad and his side of the family. So my grandpa are all Bears fans, which is why I have an affinity for the Bears. People who follow me on Twitter know that I do like the Bears. I try to follow them because I want to support my grandpa, who is 92 and been a faithful Bears fan his whole life. So I do enjoy watching the Bears. I live in Chicago, so they're always on my local channels every Sunday, and they usually play the early slot, and the Rams are in the like the 3 o'clock my time, and then the Bears usually play at noon. So I usually watch the Bears and then the Rams. Uh, I will be honest with you. Personally, I don't know anyone in my personal life who wanted Williams over Fields, but now that they're taking Williams, the city's behind him. I think they're just ready to win games. Whoever is going to help them win, and they traded for Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, and the Bears have no excuse. I'll say that. They have no excuse. Um, Willie said Eric Dickerson, Charles White, Lawrence McClutchin, Cleveland Gary, Greg Bell, the best LA Rams running backs. The Rams have had a history of good running backs. Dill said, I don't know who the Rams should take with their first pick. Would love Latu, but they could still take Sweat, Newton, or Mims. Jerzon Newton. I mean, I love Jerzon Newton. So if they take him, I would be pretty happy there. Um, Battletune said, I hope Trey Benson there at 83 pick. The Rams interviewed him at the combine. I think Benson, in my mind, there are only 2 running backs that could potentially go in the second round, and that's Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson. I've also said I wouldn't be shocked if a running back doesn't go to the 3rd round this year. I really wouldn't. Just because I don't think it's that strong of a running back class, and I don't know that there's anybody who's that big of a standout that a team would take them that early. So, but if anybody's going to go early, I think it would be Brooks or Benson. Alex said, I feel like it's almost impossible to mess up our first round pick. This class is pretty top heavy with talent. Outside of quarterback or running back, I'm probably going to be pretty happy with whoever we take. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of options for the Rams at 19, or if they want to trade up a couple picks or back a couple picks, I think they're going to be just fine and have a good selection of talent. Edwin said, so if the Rams versus Bears NFC Championship, how divided would your house be and what alcohol drink are you having that night? Well, yeah, I mean, my siblings and I are Rams fans. They're all still in St. Louis. My dad's a Bears fan. My grandpa's a Bears fan. My mom is, I think, a Rams fan just for us kids. Well, she's a Rams fan. She was part of the crew that got PSLs when they moved to St. Louis. So, I'd say it's more Rams fans than Bears fans, but we would be pretty divided. And I would be having a vodka tonic. It's usually my drink of choice. Dill said Blake Corum. I do like Blake Corum, but I'm convinced he's going to the Chargers in the beginning of the 3rd round. Zach said, let's hope Penix slips into the top 18, which would help us. It sounds like he's rising on draft boards. I haven't looked that much into it, but I keep seeing the clickbait tweets of like Penix now projected to be top 10 or, top 15 or whatever it is. So we'll see. LA Lou, hello, welcome back. I'm so sorry that happened. I was telling everybody else that YouTube basically just kicked me out. They just they just locked me out. I don't know what happened. Alex, yes, hard Arizona iced tea sounds nice. LA Lou said, have you seen any footage of Michael Pratt out of Tulane? I've seen a little bit of him. I haven't done a deep dive on any of the quarterbacks this year, which might sound a little bit like I'm not doing my due diligence, but I'm also just haven't been in the headspace that the Rams are going to take anybody. I probably will, as we get closer to draft day, watch more film on the quarterbacks just so I'm somewhat prepared. if they do draft a quarterback, but I don't think that they will. Battletune said, "Is your little brother a Rams fan?" Yes, he is. I have 2 younger brothers. One of them, is not super into sports. The other one is, and he is a Rams fan. For Christmas, I got him a Cooper Cup jersey. That's what he asked for. So I got him the white throwback Cooper Cup jersey, which he loved. Manuel said Braylon Trice, Jonah Ellis, or Marshawn Nealon and Austin Booker, Brennan Jackson would be nice if you miss out on the top guys. I do like all of those guys. Brennan Jackson was on Downtown Rams, by the way, which you might have seen that interview already. If you haven't, check it out. He was awesome. Dill said Kamara from Colorado State would be a great pick as well. I do like Muhammad Kamara. Um, Another guy who I think is going to go higher than people think. Like, I think he was originally being talked about as like a day 3 guy. I think he might go in the 3rd round. Edwin said, if we win the Super Bowl this year, would you be okay with Stafford and Cup retiring? I mean, would I be okay with it? If that's what they wanted, then sure. But I also feel like this team is poised when you look at the deals that everybody's signing, 2, 3-year deals. I could see this group of guys being like in it for a couple rings, if that makes sense. I think that that's their plan. I think the Rams see their window like a 2 to 3-year window. Now, again, could they win this, the Super Bowl this year? And then Stafford's like, you know what? I feel complete. I feel ready to retire. They could. Yeah. I mean, they could do that. If that happened, that would be a bummer, but I would respect it. But I do feel like this Rams team feels like they're basically between now and the end of Stafford's contract. They want to compete during that whole period. LA Lou said, I may be repeating myself, but I really want the Rams to take Pratt with a late 3rd or 5th round pick. 6'3", 220, he makes a lot more sense to develop for a couple years behind Stafford. I mean, I've heard really good things about Pratt. I haven't seen too much on him, so I can't really like give analysis, but I know that he's a guy that a lot of people like. And I do like Tulane. Me and Jake have interviewed quite a few players over the years out of Tulane, and I feel like they have a really good program. Manuel said, what's your take on Brandon Coleman, TCU tackle? Well, Manuel, we interviewed Brandon Coleman on our show for starters. So if you like Brandon Coleman, go to Jake's channel after this and watch our interview with him because he was a great guy and he is a great tackle. And something that I like about Brandon Coleman, out of TCU, by the way, he's good friends with Steve Avila. He talked about that on our show. They talk all the time, very good friends. Is he can play tackle, but he can also play guard. So that's something that's really intriguing about him is he's played both. I think last season he started the majority of games at left tackle, but then he started like 3 or 4 games at guard as well. So you're getting a guy with experience playing 2 different positions on the offensive line. So I like that. I like versatile offensive linemen. Ewan brought up the Bills GM interview where he said they're trying to avoid a collapse like the Rams. Well, looks like they didn't. SoCal Ram said, I wouldn't mind Mustafa. He has crazy vertical jump for his size and it's not scared to tackle. He's a dog, not scared to tackle. Yeah, Malik Mustafa. Again, another guy that we interviewed, really hard-hitting safety out of Wake Forest. Really fun tape if you want to watch tape on him. But yeah, I think that he's a guy who I sometimes mocked the Rams at like the end of the 5th. He can maybe slide into the 6th, but I think he's more of like a late 5th round guy. Very much there's some differences between him and Cameron Curl, but in the way that they play, some similarities, particularly the way they tackle. Malik Mustafa has really good range, which is actually something that Jake brought up when we did our mock draft episode last night. So Mustafa, very fun prospect and would be a very good pickup for the Rams secondary in the 5th round. Von Miller fell off a cliff last season. Yes, he did. Almost as funny as Bobby Wagner saying he wanted to leave the Rams so he could win. Bummer, didn't work out. Hakeem said, do you think Tutu have any trade value when it comes to draft capital? So I don't know specifically, but it's funny you bring that up because again, to refer to the mock draft episode that Jake and I did on Downtown Rams last night, which is on Jake's channel, by the way, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, Jake traded Tutu Atwell during that mock draft to the Buffalo Bills as part of the package that we gave them to trade into the first round for their first round pick. So I don't remember specifics of how the trade went down, but we basically traded a 2025 first round pick and Tutu Atwell to trade into the first. We might have given up something else. I don't particularly think Tutu Atwell has much trade value at the moment in real life. Um, it's hard to say. I think that I don't think you'd get much for him, if I'm being honest, just because I feel like he wasn't used that much most of the season last season. He kind of was used at the beginning and then we kind of stopped using him. And then, I don't know that there's enough there for teams to give up anything substantial for him. I like him though. I mean, I think it's just the writing is a little bit on the wall with a potential trade for him, but I do like him. LA Lou said we have 4 6th round picks and someone who feel would be a solid pick would be guard Trevor Keegan, 6'6", 324 out of Michigan. He could be a late steal. I do like Keegan. I like Drake Nugent out of Michigan as well. Two guys that I would be happy if the Rams would take at guard. Dill said, "How do you feel about the defense with both Morris and Donald gone? In my opinion, the corners need to be more aggressive. It felt like they were 5 to 10 yards out in defense." I agree with you. I would like to see the secondary be more violent. Just more aggressive. I think Cameron Curl is a good indication that they could be heading in that direction. You put Cameron Curl out there, you draft a guy like Malik Mustafa, maybe draft even in the second round, like a corner of Mike Sanderstill out of Michigan. You just draft guys who are going to be aggressive, and you could easily change kind of the mood of that Rams secondary. Yes, SoCal, as you pointed out, everyone please hit the like button on the new stream. I'm sure you all did on the last stream before it got shut down, which again I apologize for. I really don't know what YouTube what YouTube was doing. Paul said, "Do you see any hope for Logan Bruss?" I do. I think he kind of had a rough start. He got injured right away. Um, it doesn't seem like he was really the player the Rams were hoping when he started to heal from that. And then, we know he got cut, practice squad guy. Now he's on a future with the Rams. So I would like to see them give him another shot. He's still young. He hasn't really gotten much chance to prove himself, in my opinion. Manny, no worries. They said, "What do you think of the USC players you've seen?" Not Caleb. Well, I really like Brendan Rice. Said a couple times I would really like the Rams to draft him in the mid rounds. I like Kalen Bullock, the safety. Couple of the mock drafts I've been doing for the Rams lately, I have the Rams taking him at the end of the third. I think he would be fun to put in that secondary. Trying to think of some other USC guys. Marshawn Lloyd, I like as a running back. I don't see the Rams taking him, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Edwin brought up Mohammed Kamara. Yes, someone brought him up earlier. I like him a lot. I think that he's going to sneak into the third round. He's a defensive end, outside linebacker guy from Colorado State. Edwin said, "Let's get the kicker from the USFL who made the 64-yard kick." Is that the guy who hadn't kicked a field goal since high school? Because there was a kicker, and then I don't know if it was a 64-yard guy, but there was a kicker in the USFL who, somehow made his way onto the team. Okay, Edwin said yes. So this guy made his way onto the team, and he hadn't made a field goal in a game since high school. So I don't even know his story. I just remember seeing that stat and being like, "That's crazy." I'm so dehydrated, guys. I have a problem. I openly have a problem with not drinking enough water. That was part of the reason I bought this, as you all know, as I'm trying to get myself to drink more water because it's a problem. Yeah, I mean, I do think that the Rams need to take a kicker. Obviously, our kicking's been pretty inconsistent, and I think that's a problem. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I just feel like kicking across the league has not been as good as it used to be. I feel like kickers are missing more. Is that just me? Because I don't know a stat on that, but I just feel like I've been watching a lot of games the past couple seasons and just noticed kickers are, really blowing it, and I feel like it never was that way before. It's almost become like a epidemic. Alex said, "We have, 56 round dangerous to take a kicker with. You're right. Someone said Mevis from Missouri. I really like Mevis out of Missouri. And I'm also not gonna pretend that I've watched a ton of tape on these guys. I've seen like clips. But Harrison Mevis I've seen in a few games, and he's a fun kicker. I think Joshua Carty out of Stanford is probably number 1. I thought it was Cameron Little out of Arkansas, but then, like, now people are saying, "No, he's not good," so I don't know. I need to watch the tape, but honestly, just any kicker. We just need one. Alex said, "Harrison thicker kicker Mevis." Exactly, he is thick, and he is fun to watch kick. Zach, I don't think we should bring back Sam Sloman. I think I'll pass. Um Hakeem brings up a good point. They said, I think kickers have a way shorter leash than they used to. That is true. But I also do feel like it's because they miss more. Like, and I could be making that up again. I don't know if that's true, but I just feel like when I'm watching kickers the past few seasons, they just miss way more than I remember them missing. It might be psychological. I might be wrong. LA Lou said the mock you did with Jake, you made something like 15 picks. You really see the Rams drafting that many. If we have that many picks, we trade for some future picks and stay to 10 or 11 picks. I don't think the Rams will make 15. I think that was just the way that it ended up shaking out when we did that mock draft. Um, I think realistically, the Rams make at maximum 11 picks, personally. Manuel said, check out Owen Porter, Marshall Edge, and John McCartan, Oregon State Edge. Okay. Everyone remember those names? Oregon State. I don't know that I've heard of him. Owen Porter out of Marshall sounds more familiar to me. Zach said, can't keep 15 on the roster, especially with a larger class last year. Yeah, you draft 15 people, you're going to have to make some cuts. And I don't know that there's too many people that the Rams are anxious to cut this year. Dill said, "Do you see another draft steal like Puka in this draft?" I do. It's going to be Joshua Cephas, the wide receiver out of UTSA. Jake and I interviewed him, but if so, again, I'm not trying to be biased, but he was on Downtown Rams. But if you watch his film, uh, if he was at a bigger school, he would go much higher than I think he's going to go. And I do think he's actually going to probably slip maybe into the 4th round ish. Um, but yeah, I think steal, maybe Jalen Coker, wide receiver out of Holy Cross. You know, when you go to a smaller school, sometimes it shouldn't be this way, and it's getting better, but you do kind of get overlooked. But I think that there's going to be some guys that are going to be good, especially at receiver. So those are 2 guys that I would love for the Rams to take at receiver in the 5th round if they're there. I'm trying to think of who else. LA Lou said, I think we passed on drafting a kicker and pick up a UDFA to compete with Tanner Brown. I really think the Rams gave up too early on him and he will be better this time. Possibly. I just think, I don't know. I think that the Rams, like I said, I think that they're in a position where they got to stop messing around with the kicker spot. I feel like it just hasn't worked. And I think that if there's a solid guy, like a Joshua Carty out of Stanford, that you have a chance to draft with your 4 6th round picks, I think that you take it. Hakeem said, Jordan Rodriguez said she had a story about what happened in the draft room and the Rams selected Sam Sloman. You have any idea what that was about? No, I don't. I would have to venture to say that the vibe that I've picked up on was it might have been a passion pick by Sean McVay because of Miami, Ohio, where Sean went and where Sam went. I might venture to say that he was like a personal pick and not so much somebody that everyone was in consensus of like, he's a really good kicker. Regardless, I think that we saw how it turned out with Sloman. Manuel said Daquan Hardy, Penn State. Yeah, he's a good prospect at corner. Someone said we should have never let Matt Gay go. I agree. Um, Alex said, "Yeah, pretty sure we won't be taking 11 players this year, but I definitely expect Les to find a way to get us into the 4th round. That would be fun." SoCal said we shouldn't, but it was a money thing, we couldn't afford him. LA Lou said, "I see your logic, but that's what the Niners did with Moody. It's a gamble either way." Dill said, "Opinion on Cooper DeJean." Um, I like Cooper DeJean, but I'm not as high on him, I think, as everybody else is. I know that he's a Rams Twitter favorite, so I'm not trying to knock him. I think he's a good player. I think he's obviously gonna go in the first round. I'm not super inclined to take him. There's other guys at the corner position that I think are gonna be there when he's there that I like more, um, particularly Nate Wiggins, out of Clemson. Uh I don't know I don't think the Rams will take him, I'll say that. I do like Cooper, but I'm not on as high on him. I know that a lot of people are like, "We should" for a while, they're like, "We should trade up to, from 19 to 15 or 14 to take him." I don't even know that he's gonna go that high, so I don't know that that's necessary. Um, but I mean, yeah, he's again in our secondary, like I said, earlier, I think that we need some guys to kind of beef up the secondary, reshape it a little bit. So if Cooper DeJean is who they want to do that, I'm on board with it. But he's not really my first or second choice there. And you know what's interesting is Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is rising up. Like I was thinking, Mitchell would go at like around 11 or 12, but like the Falcons are like meeting with him, and they pick at 8. Unless they're planning on trading back, I think that he's like he could go top 10. So it's just interesting what's going, on with this class, and I also, you never know this time of year. All these reports come out about guys falling or guys rising in boards or whatever, and a lot of it's a smokescreen, like, you don't know what's real because these teams are just leaking shit because they want to get their guy or they don't want their guy to be taken. They want, so I don't even know anymore, but it's just interesting to hear what people say. Dill said, "Any possible chance about Dallas Turner falling?" I don't believe he'll fall to 19. If he does fall to 19 and we take him, I know Jake would be upset. Jake's not that high on Dallas Turner. Um, yeah, I don't think that he would fall to 19, and I don't foresee us like, I feel like Dallas Turner could go top 10, top 12. I don't foresee us trading up for him, so I'm not, like, super, um, convinced that there's a shot at Dallas Turner. Yeah, half the meetings are smoke and mirrors, you're right. The next, LA's Lewis said the next time you do a mock with Jake, do it on your channel and use your simulator. We could do that. I do know the next time we do it, we're gonna find a way to share the simulator on the screen, so that way if you're watching it on YouTube, you can see how the draft is falling and you can see the pool of players because we didn't do that last night. So you just had to hear Jake like repeat it, which people could miss names or I was missing names just listening to him. So Cal, I'm not doing a mock tonight, unfortunately. Let's schedule one though for our live stream. Let's do that because I did that a couple years ago. If Alex is still in the chat, he might remember that. I did do a live stream where I did a mock draft and I basically ran the simulator and then I listed who was up for each of the picks and then we all decided in the chat like a consensus pick. I would say everybody drop who we should take. And so whatever the majority of people said, I would draft that person. And then at the end of the stream, we had our Rams mock draft. And that was really fun. So we should do it again. Um, Alex says, yes, we had a blast. Yeah, I'll do it again. I'll schedule one. I'll do it when I get Streamlabs working. So if you guys watched my streams a couple years ago, I did it through Streamlabs and I had like uh, the chat, like, on my screen. So, right now I'm streaming through YouTube. I was streaming through Streamlabs, and I had, like, stuff on the screen, and it was, like, a little bit more fun and a little more aesthetically cool, than what I'm doing right now. Streamlabs is also down and not working, and my account is, like doesn't let me stream from there, so I'm trying to figure that out. Um, but I'm gonna try to get that working, and if we do a mock draft, it'll be fun to do it through Streamlabs, but if that doesn't work, I'll do it through here. But yeah, you guys, it'll be fun for us to do, and then we can have, like, our own mock draft that we've made, and we can see, if it how close it is to what happens on the real day, the real draft. LA Lou, yes, contribute to the picks. So yeah, the way it works is I have the simulator running, and the pick will come up, and I will list out like 5 or 6 options for people to draft, and then everyone will put in the chat who they want to draft, and whoever the majority of people say will pick. And then at the end, I'll read off our picks and we'll have completed our draft. Exotic Soy Sauce said, "Hey, Alexis, just popping in. Need to head to bed, but hope you had a great stream and hope everyone has a blessed day tomorrow. Much love. Keep up the good work." Thank you so much. That's very kind. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night. Hopefully, we'll talk soon. Edwin said this next draft stream is going to be the biggest yet. I agree with you. Guys, if you don't have it on your calendar, put it on your calendar. The entire NFL draft. Jake and I will be live streaming on YouTube the entire time. The chat will be open. You can come in, chat with us. We're going to talk about the entire draft, not just the Rams, because obviously 31 other teams picking, but when the Rams picks are up, we will obviously be deep diving into those picks because that is our team. It'll be a really fun time. So definitely stop by during the NFL draft. It's Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday of draft weekend. Dill said, "Do you see the Rams trading up?" I mean, I don't. Yes and no. I don't particularly think I'm not dead set that they will, but I could see them trading up. That was a really long-winded answer. The short answer is yes. I could see them trading up. FA1CO said, "Hey Alexis, what are your thoughts about Jalen Green, edge at a JMU?" I actually don't have thoughts on him because I sadly have not seen his tape. Um, I will watch it though. Jalen Green, edge out of James Madison University. Uh, I apologize. I don't know anything about him, but it sounds like he might be a good pick. Edwin said, "Alexis, do you think you would be a Rams fan if the Rams never moved to St. Louis?" I don't, unfortunately. I mean, or fortunately, so like I mentioned earlier, my dad was a Bears fan, born and raised in Chicago. My mom is from St. Louis. Growing up, her dad was from New York and her mom was from Chicago. And for a while, they were Cowboys fans. Um, because of her dad had connections in Dallas, but then when the Rams moved to St. Louis in '95, my parents and my grandpa bought PSLs and were totally on board, to become Rams fans. I was born in '96, so it shook out. If the Rams had never moved to St. Louis, I probably would have been a Bears fan. I know I would have been a Bears fan because my dad would have just stayed a Bears fan. So I've had a very good twist of fate to be a Rams fan and not a Bears fan because if I had been raised a Bears fan, my sports fandom life would be miserable, miserable. Um, LA Lou said, "I'm still not up on the draft pick points chart. So do you see the Rams trading back in the first round and picking up a fourth? I don't mind trading back as long as we can stay in the first." Yeah, I think it's more likely we trade back more than we trade up. Um, so yes, I could see that happening. Alex said Jake's last draft at his place before he moves and has to deal with that whirlwind. Pray for Jake's sleep schedule. Jake's sleep schedule is bad regardless. But good for him. He makes it work, but I couldn't function on that sleep schedule. I am too, temperamental, and I have too much insomnia, and I need to be on a very specific regimen if I wanna function. Yeah, draft stream. Oh, it's so fun. It's always so fun. It's long, and my back ends up hurting because 'cause I'm sitting right here, and I'm just sedentary the whole weekend, but I love it, and it's fun, and we all get to hang out and basically spend a weekend together because the draft, it's like all of Thursday night, all of Friday night, and then it's Saturday from, like, noon until noon my no, 11 my time to 5, I think. So, yeah, it's always a really good time. Always a really good time. Couple more questions, guys, before I have to, go do that sleep regimen I talked about so I can function because sadly, my week isn't over yet. I still gotta get through tomorrow, Friday. Yes, and when we can actually hang out for the first round, it's gonna be really fun. We're all gonna have so much collective nervous energy, in the chat on the night of the draft. We're all just gonna be sitting here basically just, like, having heart palpitations, trying to figure out what the Rams are gonna do. Battletune said, "Alexis, do you think the Rams are going to trade Cooper Kupp in a 2025 first round pick for Rome Dunes?" I do not. Do not think that's happening. I do not think the Rams are gonna get Rome. Um, Not taking anything away from him, I just they would I really think he's gonna go top 5, top 6, and I don't foresee the Rams moving up that far. Edwin said, "I'll have a few tequila shots ready just in case we trade out of the 19th pick." Good call. Like I said, I feel like I don't trust that we're making the pick until we've made it. We're gonna be at pick 18, and I'm gonna be convinced that we're about to trade out of the first round. Just I have trust issues. I just do. I'm not getting my hopes up until it happens. Um, Thank you, Hokeem. I'm glad to be back too. I hope to get everything working much smoother soon. I hope to fix my Shure mic. I hope to get Streamlabs to work, and um, yeah, I just hope I can get all that done. But this is good for now. YouTube Studio does a pretty good job. LA Lou said, "You mentioned having a job and doing improv. Is that your job, or do you work a regular job and belong to an improv group?" I work a regular job and belong to an improv group. I'm actually I'm in a training center at the Second City. If you guys are familiar with the Second City, iconic institution in Chicago, I'm there every week. So I do improv over there, but I do have a regular 9 to 5 that I do as well. So between my 9 to 5 and improv and downtown Rams and this, um, I can't ever complain about not having anything fun to do. I'll say that. I've got a lot to do. Alex said, "We get to hang out for 3 days, y'all, and roast AK's pizza selection as the cherry on top of an amazing weekend." That is usually people's highlight of the weekend is bullying me on the third day for my pineapple pizza. And I'm happy to do it because it's delicious and I enjoy it. Hakeem said improv like theater. Yeah, so it is like theater. So improv, for those who are unfamiliar, is basically acting, but there's no script. You kind of make it up on the spot and you kind of get suggestions from people and you have to go from there. It's 90% of the time it's comedy. So you're really just trying to be funny and challenge yourself with no material. So yeah, really the fun in it is just the challenge and getting to work with people around you. You're not alone. You have several other friends with you on a stage and you're basically just trying to like make people laugh and it's really fun. Um, Zach said, "Not sure you have time for everything. Insane commitment to your craft." Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, time is sometimes hard to find. It can get pretty crazy. But yeah, I can't complain. LA Lou said, "This is fascinating. Do you do stand up too?" I don't do stand up. I've written stand up before. I do not perform it. It's not my thing. Well, I don't want to say that it's not my thing because I haven't really given myself a shot to do it, but I don't foresee it being my thing. It's a different skill set. I like being on stage with people doing improv where we're creating a scene together and playing off of each other. Where stand up, you're just kind of alone and it's just you and your material that's pre-written. That I would get too in my head about that, I think. I don't have the bravery, I guess is the word I'm looking for. That just it's really intimidating. Edwin said, "I just discovered Parks and Rec and it changed my life. Freaking Andy with his Colts love." So, fun fact about that show, Amy Poehler is in Parks and Rec. Amy Poehler also studied at the second city where I study. Amy Poehler then created the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York, where which is basically like Second City. She went out with some Second City people and created their own theater once they graduated and had their own careers. And Aubrey Plaza went to Upright Citizens Brigade. Donald Glover went to Upright Citizens Brigade. Ayo Edebiri, if you know who she is, went there. So yeah, just a lot of connections to Parks and Rec with improv. Almost all the actors on Parks and Rec have an improv background from, um some from Second City, some from Upright Citizens Brigade. So yeah, really funny people all on that show. Willie said the improv had people like John and Jim Belushi, John Candy, Dan Aykroyd. Yes, so they all came from Second City in Chicago. So all of those actors started at the Second City. So Chicago was kind of the first city for improv, but then obviously people who were going to make a career out of it moved, to LA or New York City. But yeah, a lot of really cool history in that building. Yeah, John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, Jim Belushi, John Belushi, where it puts that thumbs up. My hand over there. LA said, "Do you take suggestions from the crowd and create on the fly?" Yes. So I'm on the training program, so I'm not on main stage, but yes, that when you're on main stage, once you graduate from the training program, yeah, you do shows and you take suggestions from the crowd and you create on the fly. So it's impossible to prepare anything. You don't get to kind of do sketch. So like something like Saturday Night Live is sketch. So throughout the week, um, all those people in Saturday Night Live who usually come from improv backgrounds, but then they move on to sketch and then SNL is sketch. They are basically taking the time to write out those skits that you see every week. So those are all pre-recorded lines, pre-written lines, so they know what they're doing beforehand. Or improv, you have no idea. So you basically just get up on a stage and you just have to work with what you got. Alex just said, "Whose line is it anyway?" Basically, like whose line is it anyway? You have no um preparation, which some people really like and some people hate. I like it because I think I get too in my head with sketch. I think if I'm up on stage and I'm relying basically just on my friends who are on stage with me, the fun in it for me is just trying to make a smart, funny scene. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think just the successful part is making it work with your friends and just accomplishing something. It doesn't even have to be funny. Um, so yeah, I like that as opposed to sketch personally, but everybody's different. LA Lou said that's quite a skill. Where do you hope to end up? What is your goal, if I may ask? Loaded question because there's a lot of different things I could end up doing. I really like where I'm at right now doing this and doing improv. I feel like any work where I get to be creative or focus on and study and engage in dialogue about things I'm passionate about, whether that's sports or improv or acting or anything I do like that, to me would be considered successful. So I'm kind of just doing everything right now and seeing what opportunities come my way. Dill said, "I'm just curious, are you into any other sports?" I am. I'm into most sports, if I'm being honest. I'd say the 2 sports I follow most closely would be football and baseball, and basketball. I'd say those are my big 3. I'm not as into hockey as I used to be. I was into the Blues for a really long time. Kinda got out of hockey a little bit. I do like soccer. Ever since St. Louis got that expansion team, I've been following St. Louis City. I was a soccer player. I played soccer through college, so a big soccer fan. Um, but it's almost because I played soccer for so long that it's sometimes hard for me to sit and watch. That's kinda how I am with hockey too. So I feel like it's hard for me to get into soccer and hockey the way that I'm into the other 3 I mentioned, but I pretty much watch anything that's on. Um, so yeah. Willie said, "Alexis, do you like Royce Freeman to compliment Kyron Williams in the backfield?" I like Royce Freeman, but I think we need an upgrade. Um, I think we need an upgrade. I think we need an upgrade. Battletune said, "Do you like the Chicago Cubs?" I don't. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. So the Cubs are my enemy, because they are rivals with the Cardinals. So I live in listen, the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago Blackhawks are my arch nemesis teams for my teams, and I live in the same city as them because I live in Chicago. So it's very contradictory. It's very hard spot for me to be in. Dill said he's from LA, so he likes the Lakers, Dodgers, Rams, and Kings. Understandable. Alex said, "AKB, like I follow football, baseball, and Christian Pulisic." Yeah, that's true. So, if those of you who don't know, Christian Pulisic is a men's soccer player. He plays for the USA men's national team, and he plays for AC Milan over in Europe. and I'm in love with him. So, I do watch Christian Pulisic when he plays, although I haven't watched, um, the past few US men's games, sadly. I feel like they've always played when I've had something else going on. Um, but yes, I am a Pulisic fan. When he played for Chelsea, I would watch Chelsea if I could. So wherever he is. I don't really care about the Premier League or European soccer that much, but wherever Christian Pulisic is playing, I will tune in and watch them. Now he's at AC Milan in Italy. Couple last questions, guys, before I log off. We all, go to bed. LA Lou said, "You're a Yankees fan, right? I'm a Dodgers fan, but I'm all baseball fan, and the Yankees are finally playing something close to Yankees baseball." I am not a Yankees fan. Jake is a Yankees fan. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan who, the Cardinals are I'm not happy. They haven't started off that bad, but I have some issues with the way the Cardinals, have approached this season, actually the past few seasons. Not really happy with the way that they're going about it, particularly pitching. They just don't seem interested in getting better there. FA1CO said, "I'm a Rams, Lakers, Angels, and Golden Knights fan." Um, Good group of teams there. Willie said he lives in Detroit, but he's a loyal fan of the LA Rams. That's good to hear. Uh, Appreciate that. Reppin' in Michigan. Battletune said, "I want to see Team USA men's win the World Cup." They're on the rise, but they haven't been able to put it together yet. I would like to see them do it with Pulisic in his era, if they could, but it just feels like it's hard to compete on the men's level and the women's level now too, but just with the national teams because these European teams are just so everywhere at, honestly too. South American teams, European teams, African teams are getting good. Australia, New Zealand, major surge, in soccer over there. It's just everybody's getting so good where I think for a while, the Cardinals, the USA teams were ahead of everybody, particularly in women's soccer. So for a long time, USA women's team, nobody competed with them. Now, pretty much everybody I think is caught up. So that's going to be interesting seeing how the women's react to that. Um, Alex said, as a fellow insomniac, what would you say has helped you the most with being able to fall asleep consistently? So melatonin will put me to sleep. I will fall asleep. My problem is usually staying asleep. I usually wake up at like 1 and then 2:30 and then 3:30 and then 5 and then so that's usually my problem is just staying asleep, it's not falling asleep. I've started tracking my sleep on Apple Watch. So if you have I don't know what version it is and up, you can actually wear your Apple Watch to sleep and turn on sleep mode and it tracks your heart rate to tell what stage of sleep you're in. So I can when I wake up in the morning, I can see and it will show me like when I wake up because it can tell when you like wake up and it's just like psychotic levels of throughout the night waking up, which is my problem, and then I'm tired, and then so I kind of have to go to sleep earlier to compensate for that. So, yeah, just staying asleep is my problem. LA Lou said, you're a Cardinals fan. I hope you're not too sad about what my Dodgers did to you. I'd apologize, but I'm not sorry. I just hope they do better going forward." Yeah, I wasn't expecting to compete with the Dodgers, if I'm being honest. Hey, if you watch the games, Cardinals pitching is just not good. The front office, I don't know, you know, they just don't take it seriously. They just have showed they do not care about pitching and it backfires every single time. So I don't know, Cardinals fans are in a weird spot because it's like we always show up to games and the consensus like among everybody on social media is like the Cardinals will not change their approach until people stop showing up, but that's never going to happen. So they're just never going to change anything. And it's just this vicious cycle of like, they don't get it. They just don't get it. Edwin said, "Man, with the UFL starting the season, can't wait for the NFL the draft." Almost there, about 3 weeks now. LA Lou said, "Have you tried Trazodone? I use it when I need it, not so much anymore." I have tried it. Um, it just made me my problem with Trazodone, it just like made me kind of like in a sedative state to where I, like, wasn't functioning, and it didn't really help me fall asleep, it just more, like, kinda, like, made me, like, chill and, like, sedated, but, like, I felt like I couldn't, like, move. So I wasn't really a big fan of it, it just didn't really put me to sleep, it, like, mentally. Like, physically, I got very tired and kinda, like, sedentary, but I didn't sleep, so didn't really work for me. Dill said Sonny Gray is hurt right now, so the pitching will get better when he returns. That is true, but he's just one person, and, like, Miles Mikolas, Lance Lynn, I mean, like, what are we doing? I mean, they're okay, but it's like Kyle Gibson, it's just I don't know why they're so adverse because they have the money to go out and get a star, and they just don't, and it's frustrating. They don't even, like, try. I mean, it's like you make these moves to get Goldschmidt and Arenado, and then you do nothing. Doesn't make sense. LA Lou said the Cardinals don't develop pitching very well. Their pitchers do better after they leave. Exactly. Alex said it could be worse. You could be an A's fan. That is very true. Alex said, "You just described my experience with edibles." That's fair. Zach said, "You guys fleeced us from Montgomery, though." That is true. I really wanted him to come back, but he didn't. He's now with Arizona, I think. I think I saw he signed with Arizona. But guys, I think that's gonna do it. I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me. I would stay here and talk for much longer if I did not have to wake up early and I did not have problems falling asleep. So I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys for sticking around when the first stream booted me. Uh, appreciate it. I hope everybody has a really good night. I will plan another one of these for next week. I will drop in the group chat when that will be. I got to look at my schedule, got to see when we're recording Downtown Rams, work around that. I hope everybody has a really good night. I hope everybody has a really great weekend. And yeah, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. Really help the algorithm. Thank you again. Um, yeah, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys. Everybody have a good night. Thank you and go Rams.